right, Marty, thank you so much. You know, we've, unfortunately, the dialogue, well, I guess it's good the dialogue continues about domestic violence, but oftentimes it's response to something that's unfortunately happened so much in our community these days. So always looking for answers. How do you tackle this problem? And an interesting partnership and international relationship has developed.
Yes.
So we want to look into that because there's a big trip coming up on Friday. Allison O'Malley from Resolve and Barbara La Savoy, did I say that right? From Linkage, both joining us. And let's just start quickly with a brief synopsis of what your organizations both are.
Well, Resolve is a domestic violence intervention program based here in Perrington area. We've been providing intervention services for domestic violence victims primarily in the suburbs since 1998.
Okay, and Linkage?
Linkage is a 100% volunteer organization, and it started in the 1990s, and it is to promote people-to-people understanding and relationship around cultural, educational, and humanitarian causes.
So speaking of which, when did the idea come to join forces to actually deal with the issue of domestic violence in Russia? How did that come about?
That came out of the peer-to-peer dialogue grant that was written by our president, Paul Kakamies, president of Linkages, along with a colleague of ours at Brockport, Deborah from Ferrier, and myself. And the grant was a government-sponsored grant, city to city, country to country. And through the grant, we were able to launch this work. And it's a one-year grant.
What's the problem like there?
You know, it's a bit, Allie's probably a better person to ask to answer this question in the sense that my work has been more of an academic exchange. I'm chair of the Women's Partnership for Linkages. So Allie.
I think domestic violence is a global problem. There's actually a recent study out from the World Health Organization that says 35% of women around the world experience some form of domestic violence, and that's a national or an international perspective. In the United States, we tend to use 1 in 4, so it's actually a larger issue internationally than it is here. And Linkages has explored a number of different social issues between countries, starting with child welfare, moving into substance abuse, and then about 5 or 6 years ago really began exploring women's gender issues. And through that dialogue, the issue of domestic violence really emerged as a primary topic of interest.
You all are going to Russia Friday, but let's rewind a few months because the group from Russia was here back in October. And what they were here to see the debate and the issue here?
They were here as in an educational exchange to learn about ways that we approach and how we understand gender-based violence here in the United States. They did a lot of touring. They visited a lot of social service agencies. And I was actually teaching a course at the time that was a partnership with a colleague of mine at Novgorod State University. So 2 of my students that I was teaching in Russia came as part of the partnership, as well as additional students that were part of the psychology department.
When you talk about the problem in Russia, how pervasive is it? Do we know? Is there a cultural issue? Is there a societal, what leads to the problem?
Statistically, they don't track the issue the same way we do. And so that's a particular challenge in terms of talking about how significant is the problem here. They don't have the same capacity to measure currently, and part of that is because there isn't even a legal construct that says domestic violence is against the law. So that doesn't even exist there yet. Yet they have these emerging social systems that are attempting to respond to the needs of victims. And I think what's really interesting about the way they're exploring the issue is that they really do look at domestic violence across the lifespan, where in the United States, we tend to look at it as an intimate partner issue, and it gets a little bit confusing sometimes. So they're looking at it from what is the impact on children to what is the impact on the couple to what is the impact on the elder population. So I think we do stand to learn from each other in various states of evolution related to how we address the issue. So it's an exciting exchange.
Fascinating. And you're leaving Friday, so we wish you the very best of luck on your trip.
And I just want to mention that in May we have the 25th anniversary of Linkages. So there'll be a delegation going from the city of Rochester to Novgorod.
It's amazing what you learn when you just change zip codes, literally. When you travel, it's amazing what you learn when you're on the ground in a country, what you learn when you're there. So you can't really duplicate that any other way.
An interesting approach. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so
much.
Come back and tell us what you learned while you were
We'd love to.
All right, we'll be right
Thank
back
you.
after this. Hannah Welker joins us with the ladies of Estrofest at Nazareth College. Stay with us.